Hello and welcome to episode number 192, where it's all about Ayurvedic tips for traveling. Vata can really get aggravated when traveling, causing digestive problems, elimination problems, dryness, and sleeping issues. So in this episode, I give you lots of tips about what to pack, what to do while you're traveling, and what to do when you get to your destination. So please stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. I'm your host Colette, and I hope to educate and empower you to take charge of your health and well-being, preventing disease in the body and mind so that you can thrive in life. I will be sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. I will also discuss topics like yoga, which is the sister science of Ayurveda, health and wellness, nutrition, fitness, and mindfulness practices, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to help you to connect to each other. If you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend that you start by listening to the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. Now, if you like the content, please subscribe to the show so the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. I've also set up a new private community away from social media on my new website, Elements Healing and Wellbeing. Now, this community provides a safe space for like-minded people to come together, to connect, to share, and to support each other. And I have many other perks in this community as well, so check it out. I'll put the link in the show notes or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and just click on the community tab in the menu. I hope you can join us. I'm looking forward to a lot more in-depth connection and conversation over there. And now, here's the show. Hey there. So it's a solo episode with me, Colette, today. And now that the COVID restrictions have eased and we are all a little more free to travel, yay, I'm going to do an episode about traveling. And while travel can be wonderful, it can really throw us out of our routines. And if we're traveling long distance and changing time zones, it can really affect our body clock and our body systems. Now, whether travel is by car, train, or plane, it will aggravate the mobile quality of Vata. And this can result in digestive issues like bloating, excessive gas, constipation. It can also cause dryness in the body, as when Vata is aggravated, it will cause dryness in the skin, the hair, the nails. There may be discomfort in the lower back, and you may also have sleeping problems or maybe even insomnia if your Vata is really aggravated. There are many great tips that can help you keep Vata balanced and avoid these discomforts. So this is what I'm going to talk about today. I'm traveling at the moment, so it's very top of mind. And let me share what I do and lots of wonderful wisdom from Ayurveda to keep Vata pacified, keep your digestion working efficiently and your elimination frequent, and make your travel enjoyable. So let's start with pre-travel, so packing. Well, I always have a few things that I pack when I'm traveling. I always travel with a small natural saline nasal spray. So this I will put in my carry-on luggage in, the little baggie that we need for the airport's security. So in there goes the natural saline nasal spray. And I like the ones that contain a little essential oil like a eucalyptus or tea tree oil. That helps to open up the nasal passages and clear any congestion. Now, as you know, when we're traveling on a plane, everything just dries up. And this causes the nostrils, the inner lining of the nostrils to dry up. So when I'm on a plane, I will use that nasal spray regularly. And then I also bring a little jar, small little jar that can fit in that same little baggie in my carry-on, a little bit of coconut oil. And what I do is when I use the nasal spray, and then after that dries up a little bit, I will take a little bit of oil on my little finger and just apply this to the inside of my nostrils. So what this will do is it will obviously moisten the inside of the nostrils. And the function of these hairs inside the nostrils is to trap any allergens in the air. We know that the air on the plane is recycled and it is cleaned, but we're obviously in close proximity to a lot of people. So this is a really great tip. And if you're on a long flight, do this regularly throughout the flight. If you have a tendency towards allergies, sinus issues, congestion, or mucus, then I would recommend bringing a portable neti pot on your trip and use that, daily, every morning, especially if you're prone to allergies and you're going to a new location and maybe you're going to be more time in nature. Well, then I would definitely bring a portable neti pot and have that with you so that you can continue your nasal cleansing every morning as part of your daily routines. So that's the first thing, really important on the plane, to keep the nostrils lubricated and moistened, and also that oil to help trap the allergens. The other thing, of course, most of us don't travel without, is a reusable water bottle. I bring a thermal one with me, one that will keep my water hot. And I also bring a stash of my favorite herbal teas for the flight. And the herbal teas I like to take, especially if I'm on a flight, are ones that will aid digestion, like ginger and fennel and mint. And I also like to take a tea with some cinnamon in there because I find a lot of the flights can be really cold, especially if you're on an overnight flight. So cinnamon tea for warming can be great as well. So I take this water bottle, obviously it needs to be empty going through security, and then I will go to a cafe or something and I'll ask them to fill it up with hot water. I never usually have a problem with that. They're usually happy to do it. And so I will use this and refill this throughout my travels and have my herbal teas. And sometimes I'll just drink hot water. Drinking hot water alone is really great to help to stimulate the digestive system. And our digestive system can get a little funky on flights. So if you have that problem, I definitely recommend the digestive teas. I mentioned ginger, fennel, and mint, or just plain hot water. It's really fantastic. Obviously, it's best to avoid any Vata aggravating drinks like caffeinated drinks, alcohol, and carbonated drinks. Any carbonated drinks is just going to add air in the body, and that could definitely cause bloating and gas. Okay, so that's my drinks and my nose taken care of. The next thing, of course, is food. I avoid eating while on a flight. If my digestion gets really funky while I'm flying in that pressurized plane, and it's best, I believe, to avoid it if you can. And obviously you don't want to eat the plain food. It's not the best. Definitely doesn't have a great deal of prana in it. So I try to eat beforehand, and I will often pack something to eat just before I get on my flight. So, allowing plenty of time to go through security, and then I'll find a little quiet space and I will have something to eat before I board. So an easy food to have on the go is oatmeal. And sometimes, depending on, baggage and everything and my situation before, if I'm, going from home and I can make something, I will have overnight oats if I can make something and bring that with me. And I will put like seeds and raisins and again, some cinnamon for warming in there. And that will aid digestion as well. But the particular ingredients that I would recommend for flying are flax seeds, some ground flax seeds to aid elimination, seeds like pumpkin and sunflower seeds to boost immunity, and chia seeds. Chia seeds are great for hydration. So chia seeds will absorb the liquid. So if you're making overnight oats and you put your chia seeds in there, they'll absorb all that liquid, which is great because then that liquid won't have a tendency to spill in your bag. And then this liquid is released slowly over several hours, which means it will keep you hydrated throughout your flight. You could also just bring a little baggie of chia seeds, put them into, if you have a cold water bottle, put them into your water bottle and allow them to soak up. I've done that before as well. But chia seeds are great. Of course, you always want to soak them for a couple of hours because they will swell up. And then once you intake them, they will release that hydration over several hours, which is fantastic. I would avoid adding anything heavy to your overnight oats. So anything like a heavy nut butter will be too hard to digest. So I would avoid that. You want to keep things easy to digest. And like I said, adding spices into your overnight oats, like cinnamon, which will aid digestion and keep you warm, and it transports heat to the extremities. So that's a really good spice. I would also avoid adding fresh fruit to the oatmeal. That's a big no-no in Ayurveda. You always want to eat fruit alone. Because of its high water content, it digests at a different rate. I think it's fine if you want to soak some raisins overnight in your oatmeal. That's fine. They will soak up the liquid along with the chia seeds and everything else, and that will digest well. And the other thing is, if you want to heat up your overnight oats, ideally you want to eat warm food while traveling. Just put a little bit of your hot water in there and that'll be fine. And, it'll probably be at room temperature anyway. So a little bit of hot water will help to aid digestion. And if you can't make overnight oats, you could just bring one of those packets of oatmeal with you and then put that in a little cup and add hot water. And that would be a quick trick. If you can't make your own overnight oats, of course, you want to choose an oatmeal packet that has no sugar added and so on. So keep it as natural as possible. Another good food to pack is something like stewed apples or applesauce. It's better than eating a raw apple. I find a lot of times a raw apple can be very Vata aggravating, causing bloating and gas for some people. So cooking up a batch of apples with a little bit of ghee, a little bit of cinnamon, maybe some dried ginger if you are prone to digestive issues, would be perfect for your digestive system. And then you can eat these at room temperature, or again, just add a little bit of hot water into it. That would be a really good snack while you're traveling. So the most ideal foods are the ones that don't have a lot of liquid, right? So they're not going to spill in your bag. And with the overnight oats and the stewed apples, there's little to no liquid there. Now, if you can't pack something, then I would suggest, if you're in the airport, looking for easy digestible foods like soups, steamed veggies, and maybe some white rice. All those will be easy to digest and really easy for your body to handle while flying. And of course, avoid eating any Vata aggravating foods that are raw, dry, or any cold foods. Definitely no iced drinks or cold foods. And of course, you want to avoid anything highly processed or any refined sugars. So there are some tips for food. And I think it's always best if you can use the time while you're on the plane to do a little fast. I think that is great. And just keep sipping on your hot water or your herbal teas. The other thing that I can't fly without are noise cancelling headphones. If you are sensitive to noise or have a high Vata constitution or Vata aggravation, overstimulation of the senses can be really aggravating for Vata. So investing in some noise cancelling headphones is a really great idea. And they're not only useful while flying, you can also use them in a noisy open office or a noisy home, or if you're trying to work and you can't focus, they're really great at kind of creating that cocoon-like effect. So noise cancelling headphones are a must, or if you don't want to use those, even some earplugs, especially if you're on an overnight flight, can be really great for creating that little cocoon feeling and that you feel like you can get some rest on the flight. So talking about rest, the other things that are essential especially if you're on long flights, are wearing layers, or any length of flight. You really need to wear layers because the temperature can really fluctuate. So always make sure that you're wearing layers, and ideally wearing breathable loose fabrics during a flight. I also pack a pashmina or big scarf, socks, and an extra sweater. And on the long flights, they like to blast that cool air sometimes, which can really aggravate Vata and Kapha. So always have those extra layers. You definitely won't regret it. And then when you wear layers, if it gets too hot, not. You can just start stripping off those layers and you'll find yourself comfortable. I also wear compression flight socks on long flights to aid circulation. So I have a tendency towards swelling around my ankles on long flights. I once arrived in Australia with elephant legs, seriously, for days. So I'm pretty disciplined about wearing compression socks, and they're not sexy, but they do a great job. They avoid that blood pooling around the ankles and any retention, and they stimulate the circulation of blood back to the heart. So I highly recommend those. And of course, I bring my neck pillow on long flights, an eye mask, and like I said, I have my noise cancelling headphones or earplugs. If you don't want to use noise cancelling headphones, I really recommend that. So making sure that, you're bringing all these things like extra clothes and the neck pillow and the eye mask and the earplugs or the noise cancelling headphones, so you can create a cocoon-like effect. Especially if you're on an overnight flight and you want to get some rest, you kind of want to shut down the senses. So the more you can shut down your ears and your eyes and so on and make a nice cocoon for yourself, the better and the more pacifying it will be for Vata. The other thing I always travel with are essential oils. So I love those little bottles of essential oil roll-ons. And again, they'll go in that little baggie in my carry-on luggage. And I usually like to bring a calming oil mix, like a lavender or chamomile. Bergamot is also a good one. It can be a little bit energizing because of that citrus. So essential oils are lovely, and I roll the oil on my wrist. I'll put it on my temples, and during the flight, I may put it on the palms of my hand and then bring my hands up to my nostrils and just take some deep breaths, some deep belly breathing, inhaling the calming oils. And I love this, especially, if you're on a long flight and you're just feeling everything's a little stale. The essential oils can be really fantastic and, great during times of turbulence on the flight, that you're feeling a little agitated or you're feeling a little anxious. Just using these essential oils for calming is wonderful. And, the flight can be a perfect place to do some deep belly breathing or to do some meditation. So it's a great opportunity. You can't really do much while you're sitting there. So it's a great opportunity to do some mindfulness. And it's especially great when there's a bumpy ride, to really focus on the breath and calm that energy, because traveling can be quite stressful. There's a lot of steps, and particularly nowadays with the whole COVID thing, there's a lot of extra steps to go through. So the more we can calm ourselves while we're in the process of traveling, the better for our Vata, and the more relaxed we'll be once we reach our destination. The other thing in flight I bring is for my skin. Again, gets really dehydrated. I love using a rose hydration spray. I have pretty sensitive pitta skin. So I will put that in my baggie, in my carry-on, and then I will use that throughout the flight. Just spray it on my face. And I also use a really good moisturizer because, again, the skin will dry out. So I'll spray with the rose spray, allow that to dry in, and then I'll use a moisturizer and make sure if I'm on a long flight that I do that regularly as well. Now, if you suffer from constipation or digestive issues while traveling, and this can be a tendency of a person with a high Vata constitution or Vata aggravation, they may find every time they travel, their elimination is slower, maybe drier, harder to eliminate. And I highly recommend packing some Triphala. Triphala is an Ayurvedic all-natural supplement. The Triphala translates to 3 fruits, and this can be really wonderful to travel with. It is very gentle digestive and elimination aid. And the good news is you can check out the link in the show notes. I have a 20% discount on Triphala on the Elements of Ayurveda podcast page on Banyan Botanicals. So I'll put that link in the show notes, and on that page you'll find all my favorite Banyan Botanical products, and they very kindly give a 20% discount to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast listeners. So check out that. Triphala is definitely a good supplement to stock up on when you're traveling. And again, it's a very gentle digestive and elimination aid. It's not habit forming. It's not a laxative. So that is a wonderful one to bring while traveling. So that's most of my tips for while I'm traveling and packing and so on. And then when I arrive at my destination, it's all about focusing on grounding, right? So if I can, the first thing I want to do is go for a walk and move my body. After sitting on a plane for so long, I want to get some fresh air and I want to move and get my circulation going. And when I'm getting my circulation going, it means I'm moving my lymph as well and prevent any stagnation. I also want to get a little bit of sun because sun is said to reduce jet lag and it helps to reset your body clock to local time. So again, if possible, I like to just drop my bags and go for a walk if it's at a reasonable time of day. I try to avoid napping as this can really prolong jet lag. So this walk will really help keep me awake. And then normally what I like to do, I do a Abhyanga oil massage. So again, this is a great grounding practice. The heaviness of the oil is going to calm the nervous system. It's also going to help promote circulation. I'll use an oil that's appropriate for my constitution, and that's different for everyone. Just a quick review is sesame oil is warming, so more ideal for Vata. Coconut oil is more cooling, ideal for Pitta. And sunflower oil is a good oil for Kapha. It's a lighter oil. So choosing the oil that's good for you. You can add a little bit of essential oils in there as well if you want, a little bit of chamomile or a little bit of lavender. That would be great as well. So putting the oil on your skin, making sure that you warm it up if you can. So it's going to be nice and soothing and nurturing for the nervous system, and it will sink into your tissues as well. Allowing that to sit on your skin for about 20 minutes and then having a shower or bath. Again, you could use some essential oils, just making it a nice grounding practice. Another trick, if it's not possible to do a full Abhyanga oil massage, then you could just have a shower and apply some oil to the soles of your feet, which is a very grounding practice. So maybe before you go to bed that night, just giving yourself a little foot massage and allow the oil to sit on your skin. Maybe put some socks on so you don't get oil all over the sheets. Again, very grounding for Vata. If you have a high Pitta constitution, this might be a little heating for you. You might be ripping off the socks in the middle of the night as you heat up. But like I said, it's a great one for Vata. The other thing I want to note is if you have a tendency towards heaviness or sluggishness after a flight, if you have more of a Kapha constitution, then you may want to opt for some dry brushing rather than the oil massage. And this would be a good option to stimulate Kapha. And I actually travel with my little dry brush. I think that's great as well. So if you feel more congested, rather than doing the oil massage, you could do more stimulation with the dry brushing. I have Kapha in my constitution too, so I'll travel with that as well. And then, of course, I try to do some stretching after the flight, right? A little gentle yoga. I include some sun salutations. I find that some twisting is really great to aid digestion and elimination. And I always make sure that I will end that little practice with my legs up the wall for several minutes. And again, this will promote the blood flow back to the heart, as the blood can tend to pool during long flights. And I have that tendency towards that pooling and water retention in my ankles. So that's a definite for me. No matter how little time I have, I will always do legs up the wall. And then while I'm doing that gentle yoga and the legs up the wall, I will always focus on my breath and do some deep belly yoga breaths to calm the body and mind, calm the Vata dosha after traveling. And then in regards food, when I land, I always find that I'm not hungry after a flight. Again, the digestion can really be affected on that pressurized plane. So I will tend not to eat. Maybe I'll just stick with the hot water herbal teas or have something that's really light and easy digestible, like a soup. And of course, I will always stop eating 3 hours before bed, allowing the food to digest if I do have something. And then if I'm not hungry, but I need something before I go to bed, and if I have the facilities, I'll make a turmeric golden milk and put a little bit of nutmeg in there, which is a natural sedative to help me sleep. And you could always add cinnamon for warming or cardamom if you're too hot to cool you down. And if you are experiencing digestive issues, you can have a little bit of dry ginger powder in there. I do have the recipe for the golden turmeric milk download, and I'll put that link in the show notes if you haven't received that already. And then I will always try to get on local time as soon as possible. So I try to go to bed at 10 p.m. local time, or before probably. And I always try to stick with my morning routine while traveling as well. So getting up before or with sunrise, and I'll always have my hot water in the morning, do my mindfulness practices, and also a little bit of exercise as well. So continuing with these daily routines, these self-care practices, or dinacharya as they're called in Ayurveda, is really important to keep the doshas balanced. And that will include like tongue scraping, oil pulling, the nasal cleansing, maybe with a neti pot if I'm feeling congested. I may use a little nausea oil if I feel the need for that, and the daily abhyanga. I always like to keep those practices going. Now, if you're not familiar with dinacharya or these daily self-care routines, which are really a foundation of Ayurveda and keeping your constitution in balance, check out episode number 16 titled Ayurvedic Dinacharya or Daily Routines. I'll put that link in the show notes also. But just to summarize here, the benefits of these daily routines are that they provide us with a balanced foundation for our day and our well-being. They keep our doshas in balance, so preventing any dis-ease, and particularly they are grounding for the Vata dosha, and it really provides regularity for our body clock and our body systems. These routines are going to aid digestion, they're going to aid absorption and assimilation, and it'll really help with elimination. It just creates regularity in these bodily systems. It also helps to prevent decision fatigue. Have you ever got up in the morning, you're like, oh, where do I start? If you have these daily habits on autopilot, you know what you're doing every morning. As soon as you get up, there's less decisions to make, and you have so much energy for bigger decisions in your day. So when you're experiencing any Vata aggravation, indecisiveness is one of the symptoms of Vata aggravation, and it really can create overwhelm or decision paralysis or just procrastination. So having these habits in place means that you can flow through your day knowing your self-care is taken care of first thing in the morning, and you're saving, like I said, that energy for bigger decisions or other obstacles that come up in your day. You're not draining them on these little daily habits. Also, having these daily habits really promotes discipline. It gives a confidence and a clarity. And of course, doing these habits day in, day out will promote longevity and happiness because you are starting your day with a really good self-care practice. So as you can see, they're a fundamental part of the Ayurvedic lifestyle for a reason. If you would like support around building a strategy for your daily self-care practices, your dinacharya, I do that in my consultations. I put together a strategy not only for your daily routines, but I also put together a strategy with you for your food, your self-care, your exercise, your work or study schedules. And we put together a strategies in alignment, of course, with your unique constitution and in alignment with the circadian rhythms and your lifestyle. So just know that I have that service available as online in my consultations. I'll put that link in the show notes if you want some help in putting together that strategy. I also have a 28-day online daily habits for holistic health program. To help with this is all about educating you on implementing these daily habits, and also gives you more education to empower you to become your own healer. This is a self-paced course, and in this course, I cover the circadian rhythms and how to structure your day to work with these energies rather than going against them and suffering. I educate you on habit formation, and in the program, we set up reminders and triggers to ensure habit success. There's also a week where we talk about understanding the different mental qualities. I go into detail on the mental qualities of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, and understanding how these qualities affect each dosha and how to recognize the signs of aggravation in your mind and how to maintain balance. And we work on a lot of different mindfulness practices like meditation, breath practices, affirmations and visualizations. So that's what I cover during the second week of the course. The third week is a lot of learning about the principles of Ayurvedic healing and becoming your own healer, and how to bring this into your life on a daily basis so you can keep your doshas in balance. And then at the end of the course, I talk about how to develop your intuition and how to use this as a guide in your life, in your soul journey. And I talk a lot about living a sattvic life in your home, your work, and your community. And so that's what we cover during this program. Again, it's a 28-day self-paced program. You get access to a private course page. There's daily coaching webinars. The nice thing is they're only bite-sized. They're like 10 minutes every day. And then you can take as long as you need to go through that. So check out that link in the show notes or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, if you're interested in that 28-day online self-paced program, or if you want to do a one-to-one with me online, we can do a consultation. So that's it. They're all my travel tips from Ayurveda. Some great tips there to keep you grounded, keep the Vata pacified, so you can travel with ease and arrive at your destination feeling calm and ready to enjoy your travels. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you would like to continue the conversation, we continue it over in the private Elements of Ayurveda community. I'll put that link in the show notes. And thank you for tuning in. If you think that these tips will be helpful to family or friends, please share it with them so we can get this wisdom out there and get more people traveling with ease. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, please do so wherever you listen to your podcast, so the new episodes will automatically download for you. And if you want to rate and review the podcast, I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support. And until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and bye for now. Slán go fóill.